this theory that like a boat in the ocean, you know, you got the waves going up and down. Well, if the boat is...
Yo!
I never tried that one.
How do we get this on camera?
Is that on camera now?
I don't know. There's no way to film the
Magnetic river
table.
stuff over here.
So you demonstrated this is not a fake can.
Yeah, so I've got, this is the doctor's fly stick. It's a toy, generates static electricity.
That's all they do.
And I got my tech deck, and I held it next to it, and it pulls. Where was it?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably have a little bit upper. You turn around. Oh yeah. It started going. Yeah. Probably you have the table is not perfect flat.
Yeah. So
Or so it moved the skateboard.
Yeah, move the skateboard. But you can easily move this one.
Yeah, the can's very easy.
I wonder if what it is it's similar to this UNRA radiation, where if you have
I
a
got an
boat,
idea.
check this phenomenon out. If you have a wall and then you have a boat in the water, you have a wall, and then the boat's floating there. The waves coming in are being broken by the boat. So the waves on the other side of the boat, between the wall and the boat, are smaller.
Let me
the
try
radiation
over
has been
here.
diminished. Therefore,
The camera.
the boat slowly gets rocked towards the wall. You might call that gravity or
Put it as-
magnetism, but it's actually a
Close to
diminishment
the
of
edge, close to the
radiation
edge.
because of
Yeah, we
because
can,
of the
so we can see
Can I
it.
see now?
diffusive properties of the matter.
I'm trying to demonstrate that everything gravity can do, electromagnetic force can do.
Yeah.
How many times better? 10 to the 36 power. Billions, 4 billion times better than this one.
Do you think that it's possible that gravity is a resonating frequency of magnetism?
Here, let me.
That's exactly the point. For gravity is just part of a magnetic force, attraction.
Yeah. And people will say, well, electromagnetic force can't account for gravity because gravity is too weak.
Oh my goodness, you made it work.
And so, yeah.
It's a.
And by the way,
Too bad, the camera cannot see it.
I don't. Yeah, the camera can't see. But my fingerboard here, it's the Tim Pool Boonies Pro model, and this will use the static electricity pulls it.
Yep.
I can put it on the table.
Oh, okay. Well, I just explained this UNRA radiation. I'll do it again really quick. So you've got a wall in the water and a boat floating in the water, all these waves coming in, but the boat is breaking the waves. So the waves between the wall and the boat are smaller than the waves in the ocean. Therefore, this boat that's hanging here just starts to get slowly rocked towards the wall because of the diminishment of what's called UNRA radiation. And so you might consider that gravity or magnetism, that it's blocking its own substrate and therefore is getting pulled. You know, it's almost like a vacuum is being created in the radiation.
yeah, and so that's very analogous to the Casimir effect, right?
Camera can see that one.
Yeah.
And what we're doing with the magnets here, this is just Eric Laithwaite's magnetic river, which is that like if you have a spinning object, it will actually flow opposite potentially of the direction of the flow of the magnetism in this case. So you can actually get it to go, the opposite of flow of like a river. So normally if a river would cause something to flow downstream, but it can actually cause things to flow upstream in this situation.
Oh, check this out. Tim's about to...
Can you see it?
That's just static electricity in action?
Yeah, it's hard.
You on the other side because it's not even.
It's working.
Okay. Yeah, it works once you put on the table. It works. Just goes.
What is that? Is it just like a battery and it's creating a static?
Just a battery. Create something. A brush rotate.
Now on the table it goes.
On table.
You could see it though, proof of concept on the...
Or you want me to try here because the camera can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you do right here. You know where the.
I mean, it was working perfectly over there.
Yes.
Where are
Okay.
we at?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude, that's happening with our communication,
I did not
too.
fake it, right?
That's why they say-
I can.
So
When they see people have magnetic personalities, I think they're talking about that.
So gravity is a 0-point fluctuation force. It is related to this ether, this energy that permeates space-time. And we know gravity waves exist. LIGO detected gravity waves in 2015, but people had already figured out high-frequency gravitational waves way before that. Lab produced gravity waves. LIGO is only detecting low-frequency gravity waves, things that come from astronomical bodies, not things that might be produced on a tabletop type setting. And one of the first things people say is, well, gravity, how can gravity be related to electromagnetism? Electromagnetism is so much more powerful than gravity is. But if you look at the forms, the equations for Coulomb's force and gravity, you'll find that the forms of the equations are exactly the same.
Identical.
Yeah, identical. You have just a constant, and then you have mass 1 or electric force 1 times mass 2 or electric force 2 divided by r squared, right? And it's the same for both of them. So then the question is, why are those constants different? And this is where I pass it over to Dr. Yu for his example, right?
Yes, that's exactly what's wrong with Newton's gravitational equation. It is assuming the higher mass, gravity was proportional to mass, to the mass. The higher mass, you will have a higher gravitational force. That's exactly what's wrong. When you use Newton's law to look at what is a galaxy rotating, spiral galaxy rotating, you say, how could some galaxy on the edge of the universe, right? On the edge of a galaxy, rotate so fast? Newton's law just does not generate enough force to them because that interaction is not a Newtonian interaction. It's not based on the mass. It's based on what is called electromagnetic attraction, which is a 10 to the 36 power, which means 10 times 36 zeros higher than gravity. So if you replace Newton's law, wrongly assuming force higher than mass, because at that time we do not know what mass is, okay? Just so that's why we have this called dark matter. Because we're missing matter, and we have a black hole at the center of the galaxy. We found something rotates super fast, and we're missing mass. Exactly what's wrong with you assuming something proportional to mass, so you do not have enough mass. It's a magnetic force.
So the reason they invented dark matter is to explain, well, if it has to be gravity that's making the galaxy spin, then there must be a form.
Must be more mass.
But they haven't ever detected it? They're just assuming, but it's actually magnetism, you're saying. Or
if we're in a medium, then it solves the problem of dark energy and dark matter at the same time. Like dark energy is what we use to explain why the universe might expand faster than the speed of light. So if I just imagine pouring some paint all over the table right now, and we imagine that paint is the 0-point energy, it's going to spread all along throughout the table, right? And a thin layer. That's our space-time. And then dark matter, yeah, we just invented dark matter. We must have more mass in our galaxies because these stars at the edge of the galaxies are moving too fast. But if we're in a medium, that solves that problem too.
Yes.
In fact, it also solves the three-body problem as well. So three-body problem says any three orbiting bodies can't stay stable in the long run. Eventually, one of them will be expelled out. So if you look at our solar system, we have 9, or depending on how many you want to count. And why we have Jupiter on the outside of us, which is huge. So every time we get close to Jupiter, you would think it should pull us a little bit further away from the sun. And over billions of years, we should have been expelled out of the solar system already. Classic physics can't explain this. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson try to say, well, it just cancels out. What the hell do you mean it cancels out? We're going near Jupiter every time. What cancels that out? Nothing cancels that out. And so they can't explain this. But 0-point energy explains it because there's more stickiness there than what we think because we're in a medium at that point.
Yeah, so that 3 body or millions of bodies right now, we're talking in the universe, that tell you how flawed Newtonian gravity theory, okay?
So let's jump to, go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Yes, and I try to say, so what make everything's in place? The reason we cannot solve 3 bodies, Newton force is a center to center, mass center to mass center, does not have enough constraint to a free body in space. You each, assuming rigid body, need 6 degrees of freedom. Now you have 3 bodies. Newton force only one dimensional from the center to center. Does not have enough control. Of course, it's a chaotic universe, right? Yep. If you change Newton into electromagnetic force, everything just works the same way as we observe.
You say they move in six dimensions?
Each, if you want to control, let's say, a rigid body, every rigid body you have 6 degrees of freedom in order to
all the different directions.
In order to able to describe its position and orientation.
Okay, so that's left, right, up, down, forward, and
the rotation.
And rotation.
Rotation on each axis.
And then in chemistry, the hexagon is super stable. The 6 points creating this inward pressure.
Yeah, you would see it's a stable chemical element, right? Has a symmetry, some kind of distribution. Yes, something related to that one. I wanted to emphasize one thing about you talking about the global, I call the magnetic medium. So people questioning, how do you know there's a matter fill out of space? What's the evidence is? This is the same medium, magnetic medium, to transmit the signals from the Voyager 1. We have a Voyager 1, Voyager 2, both outside of solar system. We can still communicate, just longer hours, right? And through what? Through the same medium, electromagnetic medium. So we receive signals right now, right? And more importantly, that's the same electromagnetic medium transmit human thoughts. Why people can call that what a telepathy, can sense your feelings, sense your thoughts thousands of miles away.
Yeah, it's called ephaptic coupling. It's where two neurons.
Exactly. This coupling, talking about is a good term. However, mechanism is through this electromagnetic medium. I call that UNRA mediums. Okay.
So that's a fun story because there's a famous quote by Ben Rich, or a story from Ben Rich. He was a Lockheed Martin Skunk Works director. And he said, we've got stuff in black projects that will never come out, but anything you could imagine that you've ever seen, we can already do. And somebody kind of confronted him about this and said, like, how is all this stuff you're talking about possible? Like, what's the physical mechanism? And he goes, how is ESP possible? The guy thinks about it and goes, that's a weird thing. He goes, all points in space and time are connected. And Ben Rich says, exactly, right? So to your point, yes, there is this coupling that must be happening.
Connected.
It's connected.
Human thoughts connected.
Yeah, through
human
this,
feeling connected.
Through
what? Same universal magnetic field.
Yeah, localized magnetic fields. The Earth has one, the sun has one, the galaxy has one. And if you look at the fields, the line goes straight up. You'll see the fields go like in this shape around the body, but then you'll see right in the middle, one line will go straight up. And that's going to like the galactic field, which is then going straight up to the universal field, which is going up to the universal 2 field or whatever. And within these greater fields, we're able to communicate.
So here's the thing that's important too, is that the 0-point energy is electromagnetic in nature. You can even listen to Leonard Susskind, famous astrophysicist, say that we know that even if you take out all the heat and all the light from a region of space, we still have this 0-point energy, the lowest ground state. But there's still something there. This electromagnetism is there, but there's no mass. They say that at least there's no mass, but maybe it's just made up of these neutrinos or relic neutrinos or what have you. But what does this mean then? You know, if we think about what are some of the scientific discoveries that have come out that could be there could be implications. The first one I think about is that EM drive, the impossible drive that they talked about a few years back. It was like 10 years ago or so, where they were testing this, basically just a cone.
Yeah.
It was a cone, and the idea was that it would produce asymmetric thrust. And the way that's possible is because we're in a medium. If you're in a medium, this is now just the same concept as like how a submarine works. Submarine is just displacing the water around it. So it's basically swimming through the medium of the water. This would be the same thing that the EM drive was doing. So this is where I want to ask Dr. Yu here, because NASA is the ones that actually tested the EM drive.
Oh, you're talking about the Eagle Lab.
Do you guys know who tested the EM drive?
Negative.
By chance?
Wait a minute.
Well,
no.
go ahead and we'll tell them, Dr. Yu.
We call it Sunny White.
It was Harold Sonny White. Harold Sonny White was just on Joe Rogan like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he was having Joe Rogan hold a free energy microchip.
I saw that.
Chip. Yeah. He goes, here's the prototypes. He goes, hold on to this. He's like, if we make an array of this on our wafer, these microchips, it can produce, I think he said like 3 watts or something like that, but enough where you could put it in your phone and your phone would never run out of battery ever again. And I'm just going, wait, the same guy that tested the EM drive for NASA, and by the way, found anomalous thrust with it, they just kind of covered up, he found anomalous thrust. He's on Joe Rogan handing out free energy microchips. And the best part was he shows him the free energy microchip and he goes, oh, and while we were testing this free energy microchip, we just decided to see if like the energy pattern that it creates is consistent with a warp bubble. What you just thought, oh, maybe this would also allow warp drives to happen, because what they're doing is they're saying, we are extracting this energy from the 0-point energy field. And that could represent negative energy density. The negative energy density is exactly what we need for a warp drive or a wormhole, according to Miguel Alcubierre's 1994 warp drive metric. So it's clear what Sonny White's really thinking. The message he's putting out there is going, we can produce negative energy. It's just not what we were thinking. It's essentially extracting this 0-point energy from space-time itself, produces this negative energy density. And we know this is true. It's proven to be true. We have the Casimir effect, proves it. Similar to what you were saying before, is we just take 2 uncharged metal plates, put them very close together and just have them sit there, they'll come together all on their own. No external force whatsoever. Why? Because certain wavelengths of the 0-point energy can't fit between the plates. And if that's the case, that means there's less wavelengths on the inside than there is on the outside, which causes pressure to occur. This is what Harold Sonny's White saying. We can engineer this at the micro scale with microchips. And potentially we can scale that up. And if we could scale that up, then we could create all the stuff that you see in Star Trek all the time.
Yeah, I want to give a physical basis of where this 0-point energy comes from. Okay, so since we, I try to replace the word called the 0-point energy, just like replace ether with called the universal magnetic fluids, which is a real substance, and we can also replace the 0-point energy. Use the word. This is called the universal magnetic fluid. That's the medium. And so now you're talking about where does this energy come from, right? So that's at the lower state. Did you see we have sunlight? Lots of lights traveling we see lots of different lights, lots of different explosions happening in the star system and in the galaxy. These are the external energy make this medium vibrating. So that's where energy is infinite level of energy. As long as the universe exists, so you would have the vibration, that's the energy existed.
Is it because electrons can, I was wondering about electrons and fermions in general, that they can spin down in one area as another one spins up elsewhere? They don't just have to move through space. They can actually spin down and recreate elsewhere. And so you might see a star 100 billion light years away is actually creating energy here.
Entanglement, yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday, 10 a.m. to noon, so subscribe and come hang out.